Okay, for the second question, right? Um, they're asking us to display a multiplication table from 1 to 10. So the rows there are 10 rows, and then there are 12 columns, and then you multiply. Okay, the first column is actually the multiplication of 1 till 10th. The second column is the multiplication of 2 till 10 to. I mean, it's not till 10, it's till 20 or 10 times. But you understand from the output what they want us to print, right? So for this, we can actually use a nested loop. So the outer loop is actually representing how many rows. So it's till 1 and till it's 10. And the inner loop actually represents the column. So let's create an inner loop. So what's happening here? The first row, right? The first row, if you can see, is actually the multiplication of 1. The second row is actually the multiplication of 2. And the third row is actually the multiplication of 3. So what you do, you take 1 and then you times it 1. Then you times it 2, times it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. And then you take 2 and you times it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the final will be 12. So that's why the inner loop is actually what you multiplying with. So let's say the I is 3, so it's here. So let's say I is 3, right? So this is to be 3 minus 1, then 3 times 1, and 3 multiplied with 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, till 3 times 12. So that's why the inner loop has 12. So when you print using print f, and what you will do is you take I, then you multiply with j. But how will you print it out? You will print it out by using this placeholder, and then you give a value, how many space. Let's say I give 4, and then you tell what's the data type, which is here in this case is a decimal, so just use D. And then after each line you go to the next line. If I try to print this now, it will just go on forever like this, because yeah, in printf there's no line break. So what you will do, after each row you have line break. So if you finish this loop, that means you have finished one row, so you will give a line break here like this. If I try to run it, then I'll get this perfect table. So let's look at the third question. Now build a basic calculator, repeat until exit center. So look at this output. First you enter an operation, I mean this is the prompt, and then you enter. Let's say you want to add, you want to do some adding operation, and then you give two numbers, and then it will do the adding for you. If I tell divide, then I'll give two numbers, and then it will do the dividing operation. But if I enter exit, then it will exit. So it's still simple, but maybe a bit longer code. So how can you do it? Well, first let's create a scanner to get the user's input. Now create a variable to get the input, and then you make a loop, and then you just do it infinitely. So why infinitely? In this, what I'm gonna do, every time the person give an input, I will check is it exit or not. If it's yes, then I will break the loop. So that's why I don't have to give any condition here, because I will check inside the loop. So if input is equals to exit, then it just break. But before that, you actually need to get the input, right? Sorry, I forgot about that. So you give the prompt, so enter the operation. So I'm not going to write the whole thing, but if you write the whole thing, you can write this thing, but you'll understand. So this is a prompt, and then I'll get the input. So string, oh, I don't have to write a string again. So input is equals to next line. So now I can check the input. By the way, if you're writing the code and if you have a different solution, don't worry. I mean, there's a lot of way to solve these problems, and as long as you can get the output, that's all it matters. So if it's not an exit, now we can check what is it. So let's say I use a switch, and now I will see what's the input. So case at. Oh, by the way, before you check the input, is it add or anything, what operation they are asking us to do, you get the number first. So let's give another prompt, enter num1, and then you will get the num1. Okay, hopefully you guys can see clearly now. And then you will get the num2. Let's give a prompt for the num2 too. Okay, and then now if the case is add, then just print out the num1 plus sign, then num2, num2, and then the equal sign, and then you do the actual operation. Num2. Oh, by the way, if you want to use double, I think that will be more better, more appropriate, because what if you get to need to divide 1 by 3, 1 divided by 3, and if you use integer you're gonna get 0, and I don't think so that's what calculators do. So better use double. So this is the first case. Let's do for other cases too. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Then you change the symbols. And then is everything okay? I feel like everything will be good. Let's try to print it out. Run. Okay, enter the operation. So let's do an add. Enter number 1, 5. Okay, the first. Oops. The second one, enter the operation, but it didn't even ask us the operation. Let's see what's the error. Hmm. input. Oh, yeah. I think I already talked about this. Oh, sorry for my phone. Okay, I think I already talked about this. If you use next int and if you use next line later on or immediately after the next int, it won't ask you the thing because in a placeholder you still have the backslash n. So what you will do after this, you just do a next line. Okay, I think this should be okay. Let's try to run it. At to number one, two. Okay, enter the operation. Oh, now it's asking subtract 3 minus 100 negative 97. Okay, now let's try to exit, and yep, we have exited. And so that's all. The next video I'll go to the fourth question. Thank you.